our token relay representative. He was born John Wesley Jackson Wade in Relay in 1916. He worked at Alvord Distillery, and you'll see some of his paintings displayed around here. Jack, your father, John Ernest Wade, had a tavern.
Had a tavern on the Washington Road.
You want to tell us about that?
When Prohibition was in, but after Prohibition, he got on the police force. So we tried to straighten that all out. So,
well, before he closed the tavern, tell us about the tavern. It was a stag tavern, you said? It was a stag tavern?
Stag tavern.
So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about the
Well,
tavern.
just a stag tavern down below the big house. I was born in the big house on the hill, overlooking the railroad. And my father had the tavern down below in the little house. And he had a pot-belly stove in there. And that only served men.
No women?
No women.
Did he ever let women in?
No.
Never.
Yeah.
Well, and now this was the last stop. You said this is the last stop for the mailman?
Last stop for the mailman. He wouldn't go no further. We used to have to take Katie Grehacker's mail. We used to have to take her mail. He wouldn't go no further. Mr. Gutschall. That was the law then. He only had so many miles, and that was his last stop. Because this was at Wines. And then she was considered part of Halethorne. So he couldn't go there. We had to take the mail to Miss Katie.
So he'd bring a bag? Was it a bag of mail?
So he put it in the mailbox.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he put it in our mailbox.
I see. So your father became a foot patrolman,
Foot
right?
patrolman in Relay and St. Denis.
Right. What's that?
His father was the patrolman in Relay?
Yes.
We knew him.
You knew him?
You did.
Well, he knew everybody. He used things with diplomacy. You know, he didn't use force, but he was tough. He was tough, but he used diplomacy. He never hardly had any problem with people because he'd go to their parents and then straighten these things out.
He was a nice fellow.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Now, tell them the story about the guy who broke out of Spring Grove.
Oh, there's a guy broke out of Spring Grove one night, and he came by and had like a black dress on. So he stopped by the house like a dummy. He stopped by the house. So we had a communication center from our house to Hanson and Call and Relay. So we called up Hanson and Call, and we told my father, said, we think that Spring Grove guy just went by the house. He arrested him down before we got to the Elkridge Bridge.
Now you said a lot of these guys who became cops came out of the saloon business?
Yeah, because you see, the policemen in them days, they had utter courage. They knew how to shoot straight, and they used a lot of diplomacy, and they knew right from wrong.
Let's hope so if they can shoot straight.
And they knew right from wrong. I'm a little hoarse. Something wrong
No,
here.
you sound fine.
I used to talk louder than that. But, a little hoarse.
You sound fine. Now you worked up at Ruby's farm for a while,
Yeah.
right? You want to describe? This was the largest farm around.
That was the largest farm. Katie's was a small farm. Katie Griesacker. Her daughter was my godmother. Mary.
Now you were telling me about Ruby. What he'd go and pick up pickers downtown.
He'd go downtown and pick up pickers to pick cherries. Yeah.
And his father Howard.
Howard.
He named his children Howard Ring. Named
All
his
Ring.
own children
All Ring.
unusual names. What were the kids' names?
One was named Pearl. One was named Garnet. One was named Ruby. Ruby was a boy, but he ran the farm.
It's the Ring family. Get it?
The Ring family. He named them all after Ring. And Emerald. He named one Emerald. Yeah, all Ring, didn't he?
Now, you said Ruby had a way with the cows?
Oh,
He
yeah.
could call. You
He-
want to
he
demonstrate
could,
how he called the cows?
He could go, woo! And them cows would come right up that path, right to the barn.
Now, do you remember anything about the Fair of the Iron Horse?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Sep-
you
in
wanna-
September.
Yeah? Do you have any stories to tell about that?
Well,
What
in
was it like?
September, they had the Fair of the Iron Horse, and they had the parking lot on the west side of the railroad. You know, the parking lot, and the Fair of the Iron Horse was on the other side. And they had everything there from the from the Conestoga wagons, to the stagecoaches, to the buggies, and the Indians, and the cowboys, and all the western people. They came around, then the big locomotives came. And the Indians were almost at the same spot where they were when I was young, down the west bank of the Patapsco. The Indians.
Wow. Okay, the other thing you had mentioned about relay was the baseball club and the sandlot games.
The Elkridge?
You said there was a relay baseball club?
Yeah, but that was a big team that played Elkridge, the larger team.
Right, that was Elkridge was the
But
main
we
competitor.
merged with Elkridge.
Oh, I
That's
see,
why
okay.
I played with the Smithson boys.
But there was a diamond. The diamond was in relay?
St. Dennis,
In St. Dennis, okay.
on Willow Street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, tell us something about the rivalry between Elkridge and relay.
It was always a rivalry between Elkridge and Relay. You know, because on Relay Day, they play Elkridge. On Elkridge Day, Relay would play them. And there was a pitcher on there named Fred Slim. You remember him, don't you? Fred Slim. And he said, oh, I'll pitch to him. Old Charlie Pettigrew was a natural-born hitter. And he said, oh, I'll pitch to him. And he pitched to him all right. He hit up Sam Leonard's store. But Fred Slim was a good pitcher. He went with the Orioles. But Jack Dunn said he had $1 million arm but a 2-cent head. He couldn't do anything with him. But he was a good pitcher.
Now, so you play. What position did you
I
play?
played pitch.
You pitched. Uh-huh.
I pitched with Bob. We had the Elkridge AC.
Uh-huh.
And I won the championship in Bugle Field in 1935. Pitched against Arbutus. We won the state championship. And Mr. Downs gave us all a jacket. Do you remember that?
Now, another thing you used to do in addition to playing baseball, you used to go gudgeon fishing?
That was up near the viaduct. Where's the viaduct picture? The viaduct.
It's up there.
It was lined up there. On Sundays, it would be lined up there so you couldn't even get room to fish.
Now, I had never heard of gudgeons.
That's a small fish. It's not a little fish about that big. Yeah.
Right. I'd never heard of them outside of this context here.
Mm-hmm.
Just little fish.
It's good little fish, though. Yeah.
So people used to come and just line the banks?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah?
Yeah. And also, the B&O had an excursion to the relay station. They used to have a carnival on Viaduct Avenue. That was years ago. They used to have a...
Aaron Park?
No, Viaduct Avenue relay. They used to run an excursion out there every summer. They used to have a carnival up there on Viaduct Avenue. And also, you know how Gun Road got its name? Gun Road got its name from during the Revolutionary War. The troops crossed the Patapsco there and went up the hill, and so they named that Gun Road. And some of the people, soldiers, got drowned in Patapsco at that time.
Now, I wanted to go back to you mentioned Gottschalk, the mailman. You said he used to deliver the mail in a horse and buggy, and he had...
No, he had a Model T.
Oh, he had a Model T, okay.
And
Now,
if he had a leak in his radiator, he'd throw scrambled eggs in. And that would stop the leak.
yeah, I thought
Horse carts too.
that was kind of an interesting
Yeah,
thing.
that was stirring and stop that leak off.
Now, you worked at Alvord Distillery when it first opened. Can you describe something about the assembly line? That was kind of interesting.
Well, they had a dumper and a capper, a bottler, and a capper, and a labeling machine to put the labels on. And they go on down through the line, and you have to inspect it, put the state stamp on, and they got packed in a box and went on through, went on down through the conveyor. Then they load it, ship it.
And what kind of work did you do?
I did work in the bottling part.
Uh-huh. Now, did anybody ever take a nip?
Yes, I took one myself. I knew a guy used to break the cap off and take it when they drink milk. didn't have too much trouble with that though, because
Yeah.
there was a man, but Captain West, used to be on the police, used to be on the state police. He was captain there. He was pretty good. He tried to shake a bottle out of a guy going out one day, but he never did shake it out of him.
Now, they used to deliver the grain by boxcar, is that right?
Yeah, boxcars, up the elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the routine? How did that work? Can
Well,
you describe?
Well, they used to have a scooper in there. They would scoop the grain out, go up into the elevator and dump it to the bins. Then from the bins, it would go to the mill, the grinding mill, and they would grind it to their yield, for the yield of the grain. And Jack Stephens, he was a distiller, he was a bootlegger from Pennsylvania.
Another bootlegger story.
But he was a good distiller though, because when Calvert was first built, they had the smokestack with Calvert pure rye on it. And that's when he came here.
This must have been a happy place in those days.
It was
all these bootleggers.
It was happy hunting ground until he came here.
Now, you talked about something called near beer.
Near beer, yeah, I used to have that during the Prohibition.
What is near beer?
Almost the same as a real beer, but it was near.
Not quite close.
Not quite. Oh no, you had another story about finding a still at one of those big fancy
Lawyer's
houses
Hill.
on Lawyer's
Lawyer's
Hill.
Hill. This was a still too.
You want to tell them the story?
This was a still. This up on Lawyer's Hill there. You go around, you go around the railroad, you go up the bend, right on the top of that hill there. There was a house up there. We went hunting up there one day, and when we went there, there's vats in there almost like a real distillery. That guy really had it. But Mr. Stephens told us if we'd have got caught in there, we'd have had trouble. We'd have been caught in there.
I just wanted to ask you one more question about you. Jack is an artist, and he's painted lots of scenes around the area as well as portraits of the presidents. But you said you got started painting with mud. Is that right?
No. Oh yeah, on the side of a building. Yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball today. Yeah.
And then what was it that you found most inspiring? You started with scenics. What inspired you to paint?
Just the ordinary sort, like the landscaping, but then I like to do portraits. Portraits is hard to do, it's third dimension. It's hard to do, but I try to conquer it. I'm no professional, but I mean, I try and do my best. I've done 41 presidents, all of them, but then they're all scattered around now. If I'd only known that I could put them in some place like this, it would have been nice. But you never know life.
No.